Hello and how are you? My name is Mahindo Barak and I welcome you to our fourth video of creating a WhatsApp chat app application clone. You remember in the previous video we were able to create a chat application clone that looked like WhatsApp, but was only the user interface where someone was able to send a message and receive it, but without really sending the message, just the user interface. So in today's video we are going to create now the brain or the back end that will be powering that application, so that some people will be able to create their accounts and people will be able to chat with one another. That's what we're going to do today. And we accepted that we'll be using PHP and MySQL database. You don't need to know much about those because I'm going to explain everything. Even though you're a beginner, you've never touched PHP, I'll take you step by step until you accomplish this chat application. So I hope you're ready to do this backend side part of the application with me. If you are, then let's do it right now. So the first thing that you'll need the server, but for now we accepted that we'll be using the offline server, which is XAMPP or MAMP. So if you don't know about XAMPP, just simply search XAMPP on Google, you'll see it, and then you'll download it and you install it. If you want to watch the video of how to install XAMPP, you'll find it, the link in the description of this video. I already created it. It's just a very simple way. Just search the word XAMPP and then you download it and then you install it by just clicking on next until it's installed. So when you open that XAMPP application, you'll have this. Okay, you'll have this. So the use of XAMPP, of course, it is going to work as the brain of the application, or is the one that will be communicating with the database and prepare the data that the application will feed on. If you don't know the XAMPP, or it is the one that will be executing the PHP scripts. So if you don't know XAMPP, please pause this video, open the link in the description, and watch how we install XAMPP until you have something like this in your application, in your computer. If you already know XAMPP, then you don't need to worry about anything. All what we need is just to start our PHP server and the MySQL database. Okay, so I hope everyone is at this point. So let's go ahead and start the MySQL database, the PHP server, which is the Apache. So I'll start the Apache and then I'll go ahead and start the MySQL database, which is this one. Okay, so once you have those two running, they should show green, then it means that you have successfully started our XAMPP. So I'm going to execute just a simple PHP script to make sure that our application is really working, or this XAMPP is really working. Okay, so to do that, you simply come here to Explorer. So when you click on Explore, it will take you to where the files that will be executed will be saved. Okay, so I'll simply click here on the Explorer and then it will take me straight to where the files that will be executed will be saved. Okay, so I'll open htdocs. You should open this htdocs. It is where the server will be saving the project that we'll be using in this in XAMPP. Okay, you open htdocs. I hope we're together. So inside this htdocs, I'm going to put our project name, in the project folder where I'll be using where we'll be writing our source code. So I'll simply click here on new folder, and then I can put the name of this application. Okay, so let me call it just WhatsApp. Okay, so once we have WhatsApp, I'm going to drag and drop this folder into the Sublime Text. If you don't know the Sublime Text, it's just a simple editor. Just search it on Google and go ahead and download it and install it. It will just help us to create the code in a simpler way. It is just a text editor. So let me drag and drop this folder that I have just created in htdocs. I drag and drop it in Sublime Text. Okay, so here I'm going to put a file. So every file that I'll be saving here, it will automatically be coming in this folder. Okay, so let us go ahead and put a file, the index file. Just this index file is for sampling to see that if things are really working. So right click here in the folder and say new file, and then I'll press Ctrl S to save the file. Okay, I make sure that this file is pointing in the folder that I created, which is WhatsApp, and I'm going to give it a name. So let me give it a name, index.php. So your files should have the extension of .php. Otherwise, if they don't have extension of .php, then the PHP logic will not be executed in those files. Okay, so I'll save. So this index.php is the default file that will be executed in case we don't specify anything. Okay, so I'll save, and then I'm going to put here my simple PHP. So this is how write PHP tag. Press the tab key. Then XAMPP will help you to open and close the PHP tag. You see, let me do it again. Just write PHP in small letters, and then you press the tab key on your computer. Then XAMPP will help you to open and close the tags. Okay, so I'm going to just simply say echo hello there. Okay, so this is just a simple PHP file. I mean, a simple PHP line of code that is going to display the word hello there. Okay, so let us go ahead and run this script and see if it is really working. So to do that, you will just simply go to a browser. Okay, you can, another way how you can do it, just simply come to XAMPP and then click on admin here. Okay, click on admin, then it will open in what, in the browser. Okay, you can either click on admin or you can simply click on MySQL, one of the two. It will open the browser. So, or you can just simply put localhost. Mine is localhost 8080, and then you put stroke, and then I'm going to put local stroke WhatsApp. Okay, so you can see there is a hello there. So you should be able at least to display this. Okay, I believe if you knew, you might not need this 8080, but for me, I'm having more than one host servers on my computer. That's why I have to put 8080 to differentiate them. So you can see hello there. At least you should be able to display such a word in your in your browser. Okay, you should be able to display the PHP script in your browser. So once you do that, then without wasting time, let us start working with the logic. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to begin by creating the users. Okay, you know, we'll not base much on the web, but we'll be just using the web for testing, because using web for testing is very simpler than using the Android, because Android you have to write the code and compile and then execute, but for web you don't need to compile. Okay, so I'm going to come here for web, and I'm going to create another file that I'm going to call register. Okay, or register user, or add new user. Okay, or create account. Okay, so I'll just simply press Ctrl+N and then save it. Okay, so I'm going to call this file register.php. Okay, so that is our file. So if I come here and put WhatsApp stroke register.php, you should see nothing, because you have not put here anything. If you write anything and save here, come and refresh, you should be able to see it. Okay, so here we're going to put the logic of what, of register.php. So I'm going to write just my simple HTML here. It's going to be just a form, and this form will just be using it to create the account. Okay, it will not even be using it, we just use it to test, to create the account. Okay, so I'm going to, so what do you need when you're creating the account on WhatsApp? We need maybe a phone number only. I think we need a phone number. Okay, let's take a phone number and a name. Okay, so that's a simple form. So we're going to put here an input, and this is going to be type of a text, and it's going to be having a name, and it's going to be having, after putting the name, let us make it required. Okay, this is just a simple HTML, and then give it a what name. I think that's all. Okay, give it a placeholder name. Okay, yeah, placeholder of a name. Okay, so after doing that, let's go ahead and put the phone number, because WhatsApp you may need a phone number. So phone number, we'll just simply come here, it will be a number or text, and then we come here and give it the value. It's going to be phone and number like this, and phone number like this, and it will also be required, and we give it a what, a placeholder of phone number. Let's put here some BR to separate. Okay, and then let us go ahead and put the button for submitting. Okay, type is going to be submit, and I'm going to put here maybe create account. Okay, so let me put here some BR tag. This is just for testing. Okay, so I'm going to change this method maybe to post. Should you change it to post? Yeah, let us make it post for the sake of what? Of security. Post. Yeah, and action, this is where it's going to be submitted. I'm going to submit to the same location, which is register.php. So if you want to submit the same location, so you may not need even to do what? To specify the action. Okay, so how shall we know that it is time for submission? Okay, so I can just simply copy this name and I put here the if condition. Okay, here before I display anything, I put just PHP. I open the PHP tag and I put if condition. If is set, so here it's going to set if there is a what? There is a post of name. That's when it will execute this section in this bracket. So I'll execute this section in this bracket only when there is a what? That there is a name that is being submitted. Then I will know that someone is trying to register, is trying to get the account. Otherwise, I'll go ahead and display this form. Okay, so let's go ahead and die here. So die means that the script should stop executing. Okay, so let me just here echo time to register. So this will be only executed when someone is trying to submit something. Okay, so let us go ahead and refresh. You can see we're having that thing, a name. So I can put maybe Mohindo Mubarak. I can put Mohindo, and the phone number I can put 016-322-57619. Okay, whatever, and then I can go ahead. Okay, let me put just a number that. Okay, this one. Okay, so let us create whose number is this? Okay, so we'll not mind about the international codes. So let's go ahead and create the account. You see, click there. See, time for registering. So this is being executed only when there is a post of a what? Of a name. Otherwise, it will only show the what? The form. So if you want to see what has been submitted, you can just simply put here a pre-tag like this, and then dump everything like printer and put the post like this. Okay, so this one will just display what has been sent to you. Okay, so if I refresh here, you'll see I'll submit the form again. You can see they have sent to me the name and they've sent to me the what? The phone number. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to collect this phone number, and to collect this phone number, of course, is going to be phone number equals post, and then we pass the phone number like this. Then this phone number will be saved here. Okay, in this variable. So let us go ahead and collect the name also. Beautiful. So we have the phone number and the name. So after having those two, we are going to now go ahead and do the logic of registering. So to avoid us repeating ourselves, we better put the registration. We better create our functions only one time, and then we reuse them. Okay, we better create our functions only one time, and then we reuse them. So I'm going to create a file where I'm going to put the functions, and we'll be using those functions multiple times. Okay, so I'm going to press Ctrl N and I'll save it. Ctrl S. I'm going to call this functions.php. Okay, so in these functions, where I'm going to put all the functions. So when you write PHP, you may not need to do what? To close the tag, this tag, if this whole file is going to be PHP plain code. Okay, it's going to be PHP code only. You don't need to close the tag. Okay, so I may wrap this tag. Let me zoom so you can see clearly. So I'm going to put here my functions. So if I want to include this external file here, this external file, into this register file. So I can just simply come on top and then say require once, require, and I can put here once, or you can put require, no problem, require once, and then I'll put the name of the function of the file, which is functions.php. okay, so after having functions.php, that means that this file has been included here. Okay, so let's go ahead and now do the logic. So the first logic, we're going to check if this user is already existing in the, if this phone number is already existing in the database. Okay, if the phone number is already existing on the database, then we will not create this account. Okay, if the phone number is new, then I will go ahead and do what, and create the account. Okay, that's the step number one. So step number one, we're just going to simply say, so I don't know whether we should put okay, let us just go ahead and do it from here. So I'm going to create a function here. So to create a function in PHP, you just simply write that function like this, and then give this function a name. Okay, so I'm going to say get user by, maybe by what, by phone number, get user by phone. Okay, so it will receive a what, a phone here. Okay, so we have to write the SQL. Okay, we have to write the SQL of selecting the user using phone. So I'll just simply open the dollar sign, create the dollar sign there, and say select all from users. You know, we've not even created this table, but we're going to create it. Select all from users where phone number or phone, okay, phone number equals, then I put the double colon, I mean the single colon times 2, and then I open the bracket like that, and then I pass this phone number here. Okay, and then I put a semicolon. So that's our simple SQL that is going to select the user that's going to select the user from the database using what, using phone number. Sorry, this phone number is supposed to be here like this, you see. So it will just check, it is going to get for us the user from what, from the database using the phone number. Okay, so after doing that, so we have to run this SQL. Okay, we'll run this SQL. So before we run the SQL, you first need the connection that will connect you with the database. So let's create the connection variable here on top. So to create the connection variable, you just simply put that con equals, and you just put new MySQLi, and the thing that you pass here. The first thing that you pass is where your database is saved, which is localhost. The second thing that you pass the password. Right now, I mean, you pass the username, it is root. And the third thing that you pass the password you don't have. And the last thing that you pass the database name, which is WhatsApp. But you've not created the database. Okay, so let's go ahead and create the database. Okay, as well as creating the table. Okay, right now if I try to run this, it will not allow it because we've not created the database. So let's create the database right now. Okay, so to create the database, you just simply come to localhost, and then you click on what, on PHP my admin. So this is the place where I can create the what, the database from. So let's create our database by simply clicking on new, and then you click on what, on WhatsApp. Okay, and then say create. So that's our database being created there. So you can see it is there. Okay, so let us create the table. For example, this table, say that we're going to call it users. So let us create this table users, and we can put like 8 columns. Okay, so the first thing that we may need, for example, is the ID, and call it get user ID, and it will be an integer, and it's going to be an auto increment. So I'll go to this side until I find this AI. So auto increment, so it will be our primary key. At the same time, it will automatically increase. Okay, so the user ID, it will be handled by the by the XAMPP. Okay, so after doing that, let's go ahead and now put another variable, which is a name, another column, which is a name, and it's going to be variable character. Maybe it will be like 55 character. There's no name which is more than 55 character. Can give 100, no problem. Okay, so after giving a name, what else do we need? We need phone number, so I'll call it phone underscore number, and I'll give this one a variable character, and I'll make it 100 also. Okay, after phone number, I'll maybe put registration date, reg date, registration date, variable character 100. Okay, I can put last seen. I can even change this one to integer, no problem. To be just constant. Last seen to be also an integer, the last time that we saw this person. So what else do you need to record about a person? Okay, profile photo, maybe we need also profile photo one day. Profile photo, let me just call it photo. Okay, let's call it profile photo. A profile underscore photo, and then it also be maybe text. It's going to be just maybe a string. Okay, so what else do you need to record about the user? I think that's all. Okay, so that's all. So after creating those ones, let us go ahead and execute this table. So we'll just simply click here, save, and you can see our table has been saved, and these are the columns that we have in our table. I may need them. Okay, so let's go ahead and put these values here. I may need these columns. Just comment and put them here. Okay, so that's it. So we can go ahead and run the SQL. Okay, now let us run the SQL. So run the SQL, we need this connection. Okay, but you know this connection is a global variable, so we have to first convert it into a local variable here. So to make it a local variable, you just simply write the word global like this, and then put a connection. Then you'll be able to access it here as a local variable. So let's just run this query. So just put here maybe resource is equal to connection, and then you point at query, and then you pass the SQL like this. Okay, so this query, it will return for you the result. Okay, so let me first dump the query and you see what is being returned. Printer and die at this point. Okay, I just want to see what has been returned from this query. So let us call this function. Okay, so I'll come here to the register.php, and I'm going to call this function of get user by phone. So I'll just simply come here after collecting the user remove this, even this one. After collecting the user phone from the post, I'll just come here and pass get user by phone. Okay, so here I'm passing this phone number, you see, and I call this function that I already include here in this PHP file here. So let's see what this is done that going to be executed. It will write this SQL, then after to get this connection, run this SQL, and then you'll see what will come back. So let's refresh and see that is what has come back. Okay, so the number of rows is 0, so it means that there is no anything that was returned. Okay, but the SQL has successfully executed. So I'm going just to try to loop to make sure that there's nothing. So to loop through this, you just simply write while loop like this, while so I can say while user equals, and then you get this resource, and you put this function fetch underscore assoc, fetch assoc. I hope that's it. Fetch associative array. So this one, its work is just to fetch the users that have been returned, or the rows that have been returned. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create here just an empty array. I'm going to call it users, and I'm going to make it just an empty array like this. Okay, so every user that it will be returning, I'll be pushing it into this array. So to push in the PHP, just put this. Okay, let me just use the other one. Array push. So this array push, it takes the array and takes the variable. So I'm going to push this user into this array. Okay, so after, I'll have to return. Okay, I'll have to return. So remove this echo, or remove this die. So inside this function, I'll have to return because someone is waiting for the response. So I'll just say return users. Okay, return users. You see, so here we'll have to receive the users that we expected. So if you're expecting only a single user, for example, it is get user by ID, so you may not need even to loop. Okay, you may not need to loop. Okay, let us not loop because we're expecting a single user, right? So let us not loop. So I'll just simply say user. Should we loop or should not loop? Okay, let us loop just for the sake. Okay, so but if you're expecting only a single user, you may not need to do what? You may not need to loop. Okay, so I'll just loop and then get this and then return. So I'll get here, say users equals get user by phone number. So I'll check here if empty, I can say echo empty. Oh, no user found. No user found. Okay, I'll put here else. I can say there is some user found. Okay, so we're going to see now. Of course, there is no user with this phone number that is on our database right now. So I'm gonna refresh. Beautiful, no user found. You can see no user found. So here we are going to do what? We are going to, if there is no user found, it means that we are able to do what? Register this user. So I'm going to remove this and make this one opposite. Okay, so in case there is a user found with this phone number, we're going to say that hey, there is a user with this phone number that's already existing, so you cannot use it again. Okay, so if I refresh here, of course it's going to show nothing right now. So let's go ahead and put the response. Okay, so for me, I'm going to be using a response like this one. Okay, I can just simply put here my simple array like this. Response, you know, creating an API response. First of all, I'll put the code, and the code is 0 by default, and I'll put the message, and message, it will be the method that I'll be passing, and I'll put the data in case I want to send the data. Okay, so that's how I'll be creating my response. Okay, because the response has to be standard. So I'll put here this response in case there is a user that is found with this phone number and he wants to use the phone number. So the code is 0, means that the process was not successful. So message is going to be there is a user with same phone number. Okay, so change the number and try again, and the data is going to be nothing. Okay, and then what I'm going to do here, I'm going to convert this one into JSON and I print it. Okay, because our Android will be understanding JSON, our Android project. So I'll just simply say echo JSON encode, and I pass the response, and then I die. Okay, so there it will be displaying the JSON of this response. Okay, so Android will be able to understand that data, this data that was sent, it will be able to understand it because we convert into what? Into JSON. Okay, So after doing that, in case, of course, right now it will not be displayed. Why? Because there's no any user with the same phone number. So if there's no any user with the same phone number, now let us go ahead and do what? And create the SQL that is going to insert the user with this phone number, with these details. Okay. So you know, I already copied the columns. Okay, so let's go ahead and create them. So first of all, our SQL for inserting SQL is going to be insert into, of course, the table of users, insert into users, and then you put insert into users. What do you do? You open bracket and then you put the columns that you need to insert. Okay, user ID, it will be handled by the database, so I don't need it. Name, I will need it, so I'll begin by inserting the name. So I begin by putting the column name, comma, phone number, who will need it, then registration date, I'll create it by myself, and then also last scene, we'll create it by ourselves, and then profile photo, we'll create it by ourselves. Okay, so at last you don't put a comma. So let's go ahead and put now these values. Okay, so you put here the word values, open a bracket and close it, and then put like this, then put a semicolon at last. So the values, first of all, we have the name. We already copied the name here, so I'll just copy this variable and come and put it here. So you surround it with quotes, then open this bracket like this. Okay, comma, like that. Okay, the name is there. The phone number already copied from the post, so I'll just duplicate this and put a phone number like that. Oh, what else? Phone number is there. Registration date. Okay, registration date. So registration date is going to be, reg date is going to be time. This time, just put time like this. Okay, reg time like that. Okay, so since it's an integer, you don't need to put this will be just the current timestamp. Okay, you don't need to put you don't need to put those single quotes like this, registration date, last scene. So I'll duplicate this. It's going to be also the same time, that is the last scene. So I'll duplicate here also, and then lastly the profile photo, we'll handle that later. Profile photo, I'll just put an empty string like this. Okay, so let us first echo our SQL and see if it is okay. So just simply say echo the SQL and see if it is okay before we run it. So refresh, you can see the SQL is okay. Here is, we don't have support, we're not supposed to have the comma at last. Okay, so insert into users, these are the columns that we're going to insert to, and the values, they're here. So let us go ahead and execute this SQL. Okay, so to execute this SQL, first of all, we need the we need the connection. So connection, already we have it because it is public here, and this is not a function, so we can access it here directly. So let's execute this SQL. Just simply say if connection, and you put query, and you put here, you pass the SQL inside. Why am I putting if? Because I want to make sure that if it was successfully executed or not. So I put here echo success just for testing, and put here the else part, echo failed. Okay, so that's it. So let's go ahead and run the SQL, and run this file. I hope we're together there, right? So let's go ahead and run this file. Refresh. Failed. Oh, why did it fail? Why did it fail? Let's see if it did not really insert it. Users not inserted. Why? why connection query. Let's see why there's always an error there. There's a way how we can get this error. The error is always stored in the connection itself. Let me put a pre-tag and then put a printer. The error is always returned here. So you can see the error is here. Column doesn't match with the count. Okay. If you want to see the errors, just put the connection and you point here like this. Okay. So in case it fails, you can put here failed because, and then you put a dot connection. Connection of that. Okay, so they say the number of columns did not match. The name, we have name. Phone number, we have phone number. Last seen, we have registration date, have registration date. Last seen, have last seen. For profile photo, we did not put it, that's why. So put comma and put the profile photo. Of course it is nothing, so put here like this. The profile photo is nothing, but forget to put the profile photo there, and date we had specified it here. So refresh, success. So you can see our user has been inserted into the database successfully. So if we try again right now, you can see the error message is there. There is a user with same one, with same phone number. That is beautiful. So let us put here the response that is organized. So I'll come here and copy a response like the one that we did here. What is it? Like this one. So here, in case it is success, let me just copy the way it is here, like this, the way it is here. So in case it is success, I'll just remove this word success. We have to put the organized thing. So if it is success, the code is going to be 1. This is what we'll be checking in the Android, and I can say here account was created successfully. Okay, so the data right now I want to store here in the data. I want to store the user details. Okay, so to get these user details, I can use again the same function here that I use here to store the user details. Okay, that's the data that I want to send back to the what, to the Android. So I can just, once it is successfully registered, so I can again collect the what, the data, and I can check here if it's not empty, if it returned anything. If it's not empty, so I have to put the users, and I put the, if it's not empty, I'll go ahead and get the first user who has been returned, which is in position 0, of course, position 0, and I store him into the what, into the data here, and I store that user into the what, into the data. Equals, I'm going to put here JSON encode, so I'll convert it into a string and store that data into data, so that this will help us in the other side to know the detail, the user ID that has been created for this user. Okay, so the account has created successfully. In the data I put the user details, and then also I make the code to be 1, and I echo the what, the JSON, and die. Okay, so it fails. In case it fails, also the data must be standard. In case it fails, we have to tell here. In case it fails, you can see failed, the code will remain 0. Failed, I can just copy the way it is here, and I give the error also. Failed to, okay, let me just copy the way it is here. Failed to create account, failed because, and then we give the error. So that's it. Okay, that's it. So the point is the JSON must be standard, so that we should be able to to detect it from the other side. So you can pause the video and look at the source code and look at this code, so you can understand it all together. Okay, and if you want to see the functions, so if I come and refresh, of course we'll get the code is 0 and there's a user with the same one with the same phone number. So let me come for the first time. I just press enter, I'll get the form. I can put John Doe and put the phone number 016-322-57609. that is a new phone number. Create the account. You see, account was created successfully. The response is 1 and the data is this JSON of the user's details, the registration date and everything. Okay, so the message is there, everything is okay. But if I try to refresh and if I try to submit the same phone number, and they will tell us the user has been created. So if I come here to database and click on users, you can see we have now 2 users in our database. Okay, so that's it for today. In the next video we'll work now on the sending the message and receiving the message. It's the logic that we'll work on. So please don't give up until you reach at this point at least. Okay, make sure that you can do this. Make sure that you can do this. So let us meet in the next video, and thank you for watching up to this point. I hope it was helpful to you.